Call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so our last meeting was on October 16th, where we considered 3185 Route 22 MCC Holdings LLC, a discussion of public hearings. We had a motion to close the public hearing, and that will be coming up later tonight. Then we had King Pet Services, and we had a open public hearing, close the public hearing, and had a resolution to approve King Pet Services. And then under new business, we discussed LWF LLC, and we had a resolution classifying the action, and then we adjourned our meeting. Need a motion to accept the minutes of the October 16th meeting. Motion made by Member Rahman, seconded by Member Sador. Discussion? Being no discussion, all those in favor of accepting the minutes say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Minutes are accepted by a vote of 5-0 with 2 absences. All right. Now we have 3 public hearings this evening. So we're going to, you'd like to sign up for the public hearings. Judson Farm Subdivision, Duhamel Handler, and LWF LLC, Danny Fortune. The sign-up sheets are on the table over there. But we'll start with Judson Farm Subdivision. Planner Werner, would you be able to get that for us, please?
Sure.
Thank you. He's there.
First one.
Okay. Before we begin the public hearing, there's someone here from Judson Farm Subdivision who'd like to come to the podium. Welcome. Is there anything you'd like to say before we start the public hearing? Or?
No, just hopefully that everything that we submitted related to the recommendations and comments are in compliance. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. And that's basically it. And if we hear from the public as to what it is that we want to do, which is the lot line change. Oh, there you go. Lot line change for our parcel behind our house to make it more conforming. Down here at the, I got to find where I am here. This part component here is the main house, the main farmhouse, and we're asking for a conventional subdivision of 2 acres. I don't.
Doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, it is. Still can't hear me?
You know, I can hear you.
I'm talking very slow.
I guess, yeah, if you could just speak a little bit more into the microphone. Thank
Okay,
you.
I can do that. Is that better? Yeah, okay. Can you hear me now? Okay. So again, the 2-acre conventional subdivision by the main farmhouse. And then we're asking for a parcel to be in existence here as along the 10-mile river, and then where the barns are located. This parcel here, we're asking for it to be delineated out. There were a lot of recommendations provided to us by the town in the representation, and hopefully we have it all in here. And that's all I have to really say, and hope that you go forward with accepting our proposal.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're
You
welcome.
can Have a seat. All right, so need a motion to open this public hearing for Judson Farms subdivision.
So
Made by Member Villano, seconded by Member Robadier. All those in favor of opening the public hearing say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Okay, this public hearing for the Judson Farm subdivision is now open. There's one person on the sign-in sheet, Pamela Phillips Zeller. Please come to the podium.
Hi, I'm Pamela Phillips Zeller. I've been a resident of Dover now for 17 years, a neighbor of George's, whom I love dearly, who plows my driveway. I do have some concerns, okay? But one concern really needs to be addressed, whether or not you go ahead with this subdivision. And that's the intersection of Cricket Hill and Old Route 22. We have an accident there every month, George. We have an accident every month. If you're going to put a subdivision, I'm assuming there's going to be building, that's more traffic. Old Route 22 is, and Cricket Hill is bad with traffic. And that, as I said, that intersection is terrible. Every month we have an accident. And they're not even little fender benders. They're big accidents. So that's one of my concerns.
Okay.
That should be addressed even apart from the subdivision.
Okay.
That's an ongoing. Something you might want to think about if you're putting, I tried to read your zoning map. I have to tell you, I tried to read it. We're zoned something called HMI in the master plan or something about, and there's something in the master plan about improving accessibility on Old Route 22. And I have to tell you, we need sidewalks. Okay, we have people walking Old Route 22, and it's really dangerous. It would be lovely to have sidewalks going from George's property, basically, where the new property, which is right next to mine. I have to tell you that, George, when I bought the property, the realtor said, George will never sell this property. This farm will always be there. Okay. And,
For our daughter's taking the main house, so
Oh.
it'll always be in the Judson family.
okay. But, so a sidewalk, when I first moved here, believe it or not, I could walk from my house up to Boise Park. It wasn't fun, and I could even walk to the train station. So if you're talking improving accessibility in the village or the hamlet of Wingdale, whatever you want to call it, sidewalks, and we have kids from the school who are walking that road with no sidewalks. So those are two of my main concerns.
Okay.
That and George leaving me.
Okay.
But thank you.
So, thank you. Just, I guess to clarify, you said, so certainly as a member of the J.H. Ketchum Hose Company, I'm well aware of all the accidents that take place in and around that intersection. So from what we have in front of us as the planning board, the applicants here aren't proposing a subdivision like you might think of, like...
No, they're dividing their property.
Right.
In fact, the signs are up already. I'm assuming whoever's going to buy that property is going to build on that property. Now, if I understand the process, then the people who are going to build on that property are going to come before the planning board again.
So if the planning board approves the subdivision, then there'll be, additional parcels. But each parcel would only be allowed to have one primary structure. If the person who buys one of these parcels that's, say, 17.5 acres or 15.45, if they wanted to then subdivide the property because they want to put on
It'd be
2 or
hard
3
to
or 4, how many
subdivide.
houses,
Yeah.
then they would have to come back to the planning board and say, okay, well, we own this piece now, and we would like to
It'd be
propose
hard to
this.
subdivide the part near the river.
Right,
'cause
and then
of the
that, and then
floodplain.
that's where a further conversation may be warranted as to the, the
Intersection.
intersection, yeah,
Yeah.
I guess to say.
But I wanted to.
Because right
put-
now, we're not looking at this as though they're proposing, hey, we're going to subdivide this and build a house here and build a house
Right.
there. And that's not what, they just want to subdivide their land. And just the way the law is written in the state of New York, that requires a public hearing. So that's why we're
Yes,
here
I
tonight.
understand that, and but I wanted to take this opportunity to
Sure.
say, please fix that road. I'm getting tired of hearing of
That's fine.
hearing the crash in the middle of the night.
Right.
And people running that stop sign.
Yeah.
It really needs to be straightened out.
Yeah.
I'll kill that before. The two side things,
Right.
if they were removed and people actually stopped at the stop sign,
Right.
it
And
might.
understand, myself and members of the JHK Hose Company hate getting up in the middle of the night to go to these car accidents. But it's outside the purview of the planning board to decide what happens with the intersection of two county roads. So the county, government would have to be involved in, some kind of mitigation of the situation
Put
there.
forth to the town board a recommendation that they ask the county to fix that.
Right, we can certainly have a conversation with the town board, because, really, the town board is, as the lead authority of the town, is the one that would really best communicate with the county government as to
So I should come to the
concerns.
next town board meeting, is what you're
You
saying.
should speak with your town officials, I mean, your town board officials, and, I'll certainly speak with them as well about your concern.
All right,
So-
thank
And
you.
then, again, basically the same sort of thing with the sidewalks. It's not within the purview of this planning board to say, well, you want to just take this empty land and make it into 3 pieces or whatever of empty land. So, now you have to build sidewalks. That wouldn't be warranted. If instead it was, hey, we're looking to build 40 houses here, then that would be a different conversation. So,
Okay, all right, thank you very
Thank
much.
okay. Again, thank you. Is there any other members of the public who'd like to come to the podium at this time to speak on Judson Farm subdivision? Please come to the podium at this time. Okay, seeing no one else approaching the podium, any members of the planning board see a need to continue this public hearing? Okay, so with that, I'll make a motion to close this public hearing. Motion made by myself, seconded by Member Sador. Discussion on closing the public hearing. No discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The public hearing is now closed by a vote of 5-0 with 2 absences. Attorney Polidoro, if you'd like to go the next step here.
Sure. So the next step would be for the board to review the seeker Part 2 to determine if there's any impacts from the subdivision project. And Planner Warner has prepared a draft Part 2 and a draft neg deck for your consideration.
Okay. All right, Planner Warner,
Sure.
looking at the short environmental assessment form for Judson Farm subdivision.
That's correct. Yeah, Part 3 is just noted that there's a separate negative declaration document, standalone neg deck document dated November 20th. I think it's in a Word format. And I'll just add that all of my comments from the last time were addressed by the applicant. There was one question about a well that was that's showing up on the property it was questionable who's using it because it might be associated with a neighboring property, but we cleared that up and they added a note to the plat, so no further comments from me on that. So I went ahead and prepared the neg deck.
All right, let's just take a moment to just go through this Part 2 for Judson Farm subdivision. The proposed action, create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations. No or small impact may occur. The proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land. No or small impact may occur. Will the proposed action impair the character of quality of the existing community? No, or small impact may occur. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area, or CEA? No, or small impact may occur. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? No, or small impact may occur. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? No, or small impact may occur. Will the proposed action impact existing public-private water supplies? No, or small impact may occur. And then public and private wastewater treatment utilities? No, or small impact may occur. Will the proposed action impair the quality? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, agricultural, architectural, or aesthetic resources? No, or small impact may occur. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources, such as wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, and fauna? No, or small impact may occur. Will the proposed action result in an increase in potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? No, or a small impact may occur. And will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? No, or a small impact may occur. Is there any member of the planning board who disagrees with any part here as to all these questions being answered as a no or small impact may occur? No? No. Okay. All right. And then the we have the negative declaration. Right, so, Werner, anything further we need to discuss with respect to part 3?
No, this just is in the format that we've used in the past. It's got each of the 12 criteria for seeker determining significance with a brief statement on each, and above that is just a description about the application.
Okay. All right. Any members of the planning board have any concerns with what is written in the negative declaration?
Nope.
Okay. All right.
Right, so in the resolution to approve, one of the clauses is a negative declaration based on your review. There it is,
Right, so it's incorporated in the,
incorporated into the resolution.
okay. So, all right, so next, we'll have a resolution granting preliminary layout and final subdivision plat approval for Judson Farm subdivision. Whereas the applicant, George Judson, has submitted an application to subdivide the subdivision, an approximately 58.8 acre parcel located at 374 Cricket Hill Road, identified as tax parcel 7160-00-128506, known as Lot 1, and adjust a lot line, known as the adjustment, between Lot 1 and 342 Cricket Hill Road, identified as tax parcel 7160-00-050511, known as Lot 2, in the RU zoning district, floodplain overlay district, stream corridor district, and aquifer overlay district, collectively known as the project. Whereas the project is depicted on a preliminary subdivision plat entitled Proposed Subdivision and Lot Line Adjustment, prepared for George Judson and Nancy Leary, prepared by Bambi Terrell Munir, LS, dated August 24, 2023, last revised on November 6, 2023. This is known as the subdivision plat. And whereas Lot 1 would be subdivided into proposed Lot A, 20.478 acres, which would contain 3 barn structures, proposed Lot B, 17.5 acres, which is vacant, and proposed Lot C, 15.475 acres, which is vacant. The remainder of Lot 050511, 6.941 acres, and proposed quote-unquote new lot 2.0 acres, which has a single-family home. And whereas pursuant to Section 145-22 of the zoning law, the entirety of the town of Dover has been declared an open development area pursuant to Section 280-A of the town law. And whereas the minimum lot size in the RU zoning district is 2 acres, and all proposed lots are 2 acres or more. And whereas the property is within 500 feet of a farm operation located within an agricultural district, and an agricultural data statement was provided to all those required to receive it. And whereas pursuant to Section 277 of Town Law and Section 125-13 of the Code of the Town of Dover, before the Planning Board may approve a subdivision plat containing residential units, such subdivision plat shall also show, when required by such board, a park or park suitably located for playground or other recreational purposes. And whereas on October 2nd, 2023, the Planning Board classified the action as an unlisted action pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act. Which we do as SECRA. Okay, so whereas on October 2nd, 2023, the Planning Board classified the action as an unlisted action pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, or SECRA, and whereas the Planning Board has reviewed the EAF and application materials, thoroughly analyzed the information regarding relevant areas of environmental concern, both submitted by the applicant and gathered by the Board through its consultants and the public, and considered the criteria contained in 6 NYCRR Section 617.7. And whereas a duly noticed public hearing on the application was held on November 20, 2023, during which all those who wished to speak were heard. Now therefore be it resolved that the Planning Board hereby finds that a proper case exists for requiring that a park or parks be suitably located for playgrounds and other recreational purposes within the town, and that a suitable park or parks of adequate size to meet the requirement cannot be properly located on the proposed subdivision plat, and in lieu thereof requires that payment to the Town of Dover Recreation Trust Fund in the amount of $3,500 be made prior to the signing of the final plat by the Planning Board Chair.
Chairman, I think it should say 3,500 per each new lot.
That's what I was thinking. Be made prior to the signing of the final plat by the Planning Board Chair. Be it further resolved that the Planning Board hereby adopts a negative declaration determining that the project will not result in any potential significant adverse environmental impacts, and that a draft environmental impact statement will not be prepared. Be it further resolved that the Planning Board hereby grants preliminary layout approval to the subdivision plat. Be it further resolved that the Planning Board hereby grants final subdivision approval to the subdivision plat and authorizes the chair or his authorized designee to affix his signature to the subdivision plat after compliance with the following conditions. 1, payment of all fees in escrow. 2, approval by the Planning Board attorney of all deeds of conveyance to create the proposed new lots, along with an undertaking from the applicant's attorney to record the approved deeds as soon as the subdivision plat is filed. 3, Department of Health permission to file.
3 lots, yeah.
And just going back up here,
Do you want to put in 3?
this should
and-
obviously say State Environmental Quality Review Act, not statement. Thank you, Ramon.
3.
Okay. So this resolution, as it is now written, is offered by Member Valano, seconded by Member Roman. Discussion? Attorney Polidoro, if you could just maybe give some clarification as to for everyone, the $3,500 per each new lot.
So as you were discussing earlier, by creating a new lot, someone could, as of right, come and build a home without having to come back to this board.
Right.
And so the town has determined that every time someone builds a new home in this community or a new unit, it contributes to the needs on your existing recreational facilities.
Yes.
And so the town board has come up with a fee schedule where it charges either the subdivision can provide something to meet recreational needs of new residents, or they contribute to the Recreation Trust Fund, and that money is used to provide recreation for the new residents. And so here, there are 2 lots existing, but they're being reconfigured, and I think we end up with a net of 3 new lots.
Right.
So that's why the rec fee would be charged for each of the 3 new lots.
Right. And so we're perfectly fine saying $3,500 per each new lot.
And then do you want to put in parentheses 3? So it's no question
Change
for
the
Maryland?
resolution then. So I think it's clear, though. I think it's clear that it's 3 new lots.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything further regarding this resolution? All right. All right, resolution granting preliminary layout and final subdivision plat approval, Judson Farm subdivision. Secretary, please call the roll.
Member Valano?
Aye.
Member Sador?
Nay.
Member Ramon?
Aye.
Member LaRobodiere?
Aye.
Chairman Courtine?
Aye. The resolution is adopted 4-1 with 2 absences. Congratulations. Please see Secretary Van Millen regarding everything that is required of you to do for your approval. Not now, I'm saying, in the future.
Afternoon.
Let me just try to save that. Secretary Van Millen, the resolution's been saved and updated on your file.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So statement in Environmental Quality Review Act must have auto-corrected on all of them, so we'll just have to make that change a few times
Okay.
tonight.
That works.
I don't know how that happened.
All right, we'll figure it out. Okay, that's this one, thank you. I'll pass that back down. All right, now, next we have public hearing for Duhamel Handler. If there's any members of the public who'd like to speak at this public hearing, please sign the sign-up sheet for Duhamel Handler, which will be down at the table for another few minutes. Is there a representative for Duhamel Handler who'd like to come to the podium at this time?
Yeah, my name's Spencer Hall. I'm the land surveyor.
Land surveyor, Spencer Hall, okay. It is harder to hear people on the microphone, I don't know why.
Yeah, but it's on.
Okay. Mr. Hall, was it?
What's that?
Spencer Hall, you said?
Yes,
Okay.
Spencer Hall.
Please, tell us about the project. Let me see if I can bring it up here. One more down. Yep, thanks. Okay.
Okay, I got the letter from the planner,
Okay.
and I believe everything has been addressed in the revised map that I submitted. The only thing I think that hasn't been addressed is a creation of a deed for the transfer of the property, which I'll do after we get approval. Let's see. And of course, filing with the Dutchess County Health Department, get them to sign off on it.
Right, that would all take place after, sure.
Yeah, so,
Okay. All right, and so you're proposing taking a parcel and
yeah,
making it into 2
Yeah,
parcels?
there were 2 parcels, one on the north side of Dual Hollow Road and one on the south.
Mhm.
They want to take a portion of the parcel on the south and add it to the larger parcel on the north, and one of the reasons being the well for the parcel on the north is located on parcel A, as shown on this map.
Okay.
See? There's the well.
Mhm.
Here's the water line that goes over to the house.
Okay.
I don't think, is this the most recent one that I sent you?
This is
No, I don't think it
dated
is.
September 15.
I think I sent you a more recent one.
Yeah,
Over 30th, I have.
there was a 10:30, that's all. Yeah.
Is it?
No, that's not it either.
Oh.
Okay.
It's not in color, it's just black and white. That looks like that might be it, no?
That's the memo.
That's AKRF. The 11/7 would be the last one.
November 7th is the last one I had.
Yeah, that's the
That's
last
the one
one. That's the last
When I
one I
clicked on it,
got.
it says September 15th.
Yeah,
That's the last one I got.
No, but oh,
Oh,
That's not it. The one I.
That's the
that I
one.
ju-
no, because there's a more recent one that says amended November 7th.
Yeah, I think it's probably dated after the last meeting.
no, I think you kept,
I have, can I email it to you, Marilyn?
Maybe I didn't get a digital copy. I think I may have only gotten the hard copies.
I
What's
think
that?
the problem is you
It's-
didn't change the.
yeah, the date wasn't changed
The
on the
revision
bottom
date
left.
is up, if you scroll up, Ryan, into the zoning table, he puts the revision dates there. So that one was last revised October 27th, 20.
November 7th.
Oh, November 7th. So that is the most
This is the
recent.
latest
the
one.
last
This is the latest one.
Because it also has all the structures and features that we asked to be added to the survey on the north side of the road, which are now there, and the location of the water lines shown,
Yeah.
the
So I think
notes.
what you just have down here is your original date. and then
Right.
You
Yeah.
place the revision dates up.
We got the right one up there.
All right,
There.
so
So this is the latest one.
that's, go down by where the,
Yeah, it says November 7th right there.
yeah, I see the date.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so back down to the well.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that shows the easement, and the water line, for some reason, is not coming through. You can see, the water line goes right through the center of the easement and over to the house. And I know I have it on one of these maps, but anyway, it's shown
There's
on
an
there.
arrow to it, it's just not shown, so.
So,
Okay, but it's on there. It is on the map. Hello.
I don't know why this
We
is
can make
popping
it a
up.
condition that you,
There we go. Fun with technology tonight. Okay, so you have a water line, it's pointing to this right here.
Yeah, that's the easement, which is.
Okay, so
and
there's
the
a
eas-
water line contained within that easement.
Right, and the easement's going to go away after the approval. That's one of the conditions.
Okay. All right.
so
Do any of our consultants see any concerns with accepting this?
we should have him just update the map when it comes in for signature
Okay.
to show the line, which is probably in the middle of the easement, so that there's a record of the water easement location,
Yeah,
the
the-
water line location.
Yeah, and on the newer map, which I don't know why it's not shown on here, I had the septic located for each house, which shows that they're safely on the lots that they're supposed to be.
Okay.
But I know that somebody saw the new map because the planner, when he noted everything was, comment was noted and everything was taken care of.
Yeah, I mean, we asked for approximate location of water line is one of the comments, and you have an arrow pointing to it within the easement, so if you want to add the actual,
It is on. it
the
is
line
on
from
the
your
map.
CAD drawing to that's not a problem. But yeah, the well, I see septic
septic
tank
on
cover
the-
locations, all the stuff we asked for.
Right.
It's still called out, so.
Yep.
Okay. So we can we can open this public hearing tonight, see if there's anybody who'd like to speak at this public hearing. We can then close the public hearing and just ask for an updated map before our meeting on December 4th and vote on it then.
I think we can, the map responded to all the information requested by the board previously, with the exception of showing the easement for the water line without showing it in it. But we know the location because it's in the middle of that easement, so I think it would be sufficient to make it a condition of approval
Okay.
that he just put the water line location on the map.
So we'll just type that in when we get to the resolution. Fine. Any other members of the planning board have anything else regarding this? No? Okay. So, need a motion to open a public hearing for Duhamel Handler lot line adjustment.
So moved.
Motion made by member Lorberdier, seconded by
Second.
member Sador. All in favor of opening public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
This public hearing is now open by a vote of 5-0 with 2 absences. There is no one who signed up for the Duhamel Handler lot line adjustment public hearing. Any members of the public at this time who would like to speak at the Duhamel Handler lot line adjustment public hearing, please come to the podium at this time. Okay, seeing no one coming to the podium, entertain a motion to close this public hearing. Motion made by
So move.
Member Milano, seconded by Member Roman. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. This public hearing is now closed. By a vote of 5-0 with 2 absences.
So in October, we classified this as a type 2 action under SECRA. So there's no need to go through an EAF before considering the resolution.
Okay. All right, and before we get to reading it, we need another be it further resolved.
So if you delete, and go down a little bit, and make a condition 4, condition 4, revision of the subdivision plat to depict the location of the water line.
Water line and septic system.
Septic's around there.
Well, so the septic tank
The tank-
caps were there, but I don't think we had the fields. I'm not sure what, did you have that information?
That was on the last one I sent to the town, I don't know what.
Okay, yes, and
Probably mislabeled.
And septic.
septic, yeah. And then if you scroll back up, if you can just change State Environmental Quality Review Act in the, yeah.
Yep.
What happens when AI writes your resolutions?
Oh, no.
It's going to be the end of civilization.
All right. Resolution granting preliminary layout and its final subdivision plat approval, Duhamel and Handler lot line adjustment. Whereas the applicants, Constance Duhamel and Carolyn Handler, have submitted an application for a lot line adjustment to transfer 5.75 acres from Lot 2, 7159-00-795410, which is 13.85 acres, to Lot 1, 7159-00-740493, which is 39.4 acres, on property located at 207 and 212 Dual Hallow Road, collectively known as the project. And whereas the lots are located in the RC zoning district, and whereas the project is depicted on a subdivision plat entitled Lot Line Alteration Map prepared for Duhamel and Handler, prepared by Spencer S. Hall, land surveyor, dated September 15, 2023, and last revised November 7, 2023, known as the subdivision plat. And whereas the lot size in the RC zoning district is 5 acres, and all proposed lots are 5 acres or more. And whereas the applicants have requested a waiver from the Town of Dover subdivision law 125-17C requiring topography at a contour interval of not more than 5 feet. And whereas on October 2nd, 2023, the planning board classified the action as a type 2 action pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, or SECRA. And whereas a duly noticed public hearing on the application was held on November 20, 2023, during which all those who wished to speak were heard. Now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby grants preliminary layout approval to the subdivision plat. Be it further resolved that the planning board hereby grants final subdivision approval to the subdivision plat and authorizes the chair or his authorized designee to affix his signature to the subdivision plat after compliance with the following conditions. 1, payment of all fees in escrow. 2, approval by the attorney to the planning board of a deed conveying parcel B from parcel A and a deed consolidating parcel A with parcel 1,
Yes.
including abandonment of the water line easement along with an undertaking from the applicant's attorney to record the approved deeds about the subdivision plat is filed, after the subdivision plat is filed. 3, Department of Health permission to file. 4, revision of the subdivision plat to depict location of the water line and septic field. This resolution being offered by
Move.
Member Sador, seconded by Member Villano. Discussion? So just one thing, just because of the previous resolution. There is no recreation fee here because there's no additional lots. We're taking 2 lots and just adjusting the size of those 2 lots. So there's no need for there to be a recreation fee. Correct, Attorney Palmero?
Correct.
Any further discussion regarding this resolution? All right, seeing no further discussion, resolution granting preliminary layout and final subdivision plat approval for Duhamel and Handler lot line adjustment. Secretary, please call the roll.
Member Valano?
Aye.
Member Sador?
Aye.
Member Roman?
Aye.
Member LaRobier?
Aye.
Member Cortine?
Aye. Resolution is thereupon adopted 5-0 with 2 absences. Thank you, client. And please communicate with Secretary Van Millen in the future with everything you need to take care of for the completing this. Save this. Right. Okay, next we have a public hearing for LWF LLC, Danny Fortune. If there's a representative from LWF LLC, Danny Fortune, please come to the podium at this time. And if anyone from the public would like to speak at this public hearing, well, the sign-up sheet will be up here, and I can add your name onto it.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Donald Capolino. I represent LWF LLC, and for this particular matter, Danny Fortune and Company owns the abutting lot. This is a simple lot line adjustment between the 2 parties.
Okay. Just, here. Okay. So again, this is located off of Dover Furnace Road, and the proposal is to remove the line that's here and create the line that's here, correct?
That is correct. That's simple.
And you can see that over here.
Right. And there already is fencing around there. It's already enclosed as part of the LWF parcel, and it's already leased by them, so the use isn't even changing. It's just a continuation of the farm use there.
Okay. All right, thank you. Anything further?
No.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Any members of the planning board have any comments, questions? Okay. All right, so this time, okay, I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing for LWF LLC Danny Fortune lot line adjustment. Motion made by
So moved.
Member Rahman, seconded by
Second.
Member Robadier. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of opening this public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Okay, this public hearing is now open. By a vote of 5-0 with 2 absences. The one person who signed up to speak was Donald Capolino. Did you want to speak again? Okay. Is there any other member of the public who would like to speak at this LWF LLC Danny Fortune lot line adjustment public hearing? Please come to the podium at this time. Okay. Seeing no one approaching the podium, I'll entertain a motion to close this public hearing. Motion made by
So moved.
Member Lorberdier, seconded by Member Rahman. Discussion? Any other discussion? All those in favor of closing public hearing for LWF LLC for Danny Fortune lot line adjustment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. This public hearing is now closed by a vote of 5-0 with 2 absences. All right.
So like the one before it, this was, well, that, but it was classified as type 2 last month, so we don't need to undertake an environmental review.
And all my comments from last month were addressed by the applicant.
Okay. So a resolution granting preliminary layout and final subdivision plat approval, lot line adjustment for Danny Fortune and Company and LWF LLC. Whereas the applicants, Danny Fortune and Company Incorporated and LWF LLC, have submitted an application for a lot line adjustment to transfer 35.823 acres to Lot 1, 7062-00-249339, 69.497 acres, from Lot 2, 7062-00-230066, which is 97.078 acres, on property located in the vicinity of 365 Dover Furnace Road. It's not on New York State Route 22.
What's wrong?
Located in the vicinity of 365 Dover Furnace Road. Should just be
Oh,
the project.
yeah, okay.
Okay, that's the project. And whereas the lots are located in the industrial/manufacturing and resource conservation zoning districts and in the aquifer overlay district, and a portion is located within the County Agricultural District 23. And whereas the project is depicted on a plat entitled Lot Line Adjustment prepared for LWF LLC and Danny Fortune and Company, prepared by Jeffrey B. DeRosa, Land Surveyor, dated September 6, 2023, last revised November 8, 2023, known as a subdivision plat. And whereas the minimum lot size in the RC and M zoning districts is 5 acres, and both proposed lots exceed this minimum, and whereas the applicants have requested a waiver from the Town of Dover Subdivision Law 125-17C, requiring topography at a contour interval of not more than 5 feet. And whereas on October 16, 2023, the Planning Board classified the action as a Type 2 action pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, or SECRA. And whereas a duly noticed public hearing on the application was held on November 20, 2023, during which all those who wished to speak were heard. Now therefore be it resolved that the Planning Board hereby grants preliminary layout approval to the subdivision plat. Be it further resolved that the Planning Board hereby grants final subdivision approval to the subdivision plat and authorizes the chair or his authorized designee to affix his signature to the subdivision plat after compliance with the following conditions. 1, payment of all fees in escrow. 2, approval of a deed conveying 35.823 acres from Danny Fortune and Company Incorporated to LWF LLC, and a deed merging lands of LWF LLC, along with an undertaking from the applicant's attorney that the approved deeds will be recorded with the Dutchess County Clerk after the subdivision plat is filed. 3, Department of Health permission to file. This resolution is being offered by
So moved.
Member Villano, seconded by
Second.
Member Sador. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, resolution granting preliminary layout and final subdivision plat approval, lot line adjustment for Danny Fortune and Company and LWF LLC. Secretary, please call the roll.
Member Valano.
Aye.
Member Sador.
Aye.
Member Roman.
Aye.
Member LaRobertier.
Aye.
Chairman Courtine.
Aye. This resolution is adopted by a vote of 5-0 with 2 absences. Congratulations to your client. This can be taken back. Okay. Next, under old business, we have New York Transco, Dover Electric Substation. Now, before we begin, I just want to read through a statement. Transco's on the agenda tonight in accordance with the directive in the court's decision, which stated that the matter is remanded to the Town of Dover Planning Board for it to take a hard look at the areas of environmental concern as more particularly discussed herein, and after so doing, reconsidering whether to issue a positive or negative declaration on the Transco project. Okay, the hard look at contamination includes, but is not limited to, the following impacts, and they were numbered in the decision by the judge, but I've written out what they are here. So number 3, impacts on surface water from contamination. 4, impacts to groundwater from contamination. 7, impacts on plants and animals from contamination. 12 impacts on critical environmental areas such as the Great Swamp from contamination, and 16 impacts on human health from contamination. In taking the hard look, the court further directed that we reconsider Mr. Sullivan and Dr., I'm going to mess this up, Bach Elder's letters to the planning board, which we did and will do again. The applicant has submitted additional information for the board's consideration, including a draft scope of work for additional testing. Although unusual in the regular course of the planning board's review, the planning board intends to have its own consultant, AKRF, finalize the scope of work and perform the testing. In addition, the planning board will consider hiring a third party to advise on the scope of work and to peer review AKRF's report. The court confirmed that the planning board has taken a hard look at all other potential environmental impacts, as well as concerns regarding environmental justice and habitat issues. The planning board will not be reconsidering those concerns. At the appropriate time during this process, the planning board will have a public hearing regarding only the matters before the board. Tonight's discussion will continue to our December 4th meeting. So, please come to the podium.
You took just about everything I was going to ask or
Please have a seat.
or volunteer. No. Yeah, I'll give a brief description of the further information that we put together. The reports that describe the regulatory framework for soil classification and how the Dover Station site fits within this criteria. We also had an extensive list of exhibits that detail the original site assessments, the geotechnical investigation, soil investigations, soil sampling and results, and wetland and stream delineation reports. And we have also included, as you noted, an environmental site assessment investigation scope, should the planning board look to go forward, and it sounds like AKRF will take that over from here. I just want to point out that the purpose of us submitting this data now, as opposed to earlier, is that we were under a non-disclosure agreement due to the purchase of the property. We were not able to share that until we'd actually purchased the property ourselves. In the end, we chose not to submit it in our final application because all of our reports and everything else were based on those results.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Does any members of the planning board have any comments or questions at this time? Mr. Dorr?
Not yet.
Or a little over here? Yeah. Not yet.
Not yet. Yep. That's good.
Attorney Polidoro?
So I think you read a good summary of what the board's direction is on this. We have to go back and look at the potential for contamination and the impact that could arise from that potential. One of the things that the board is considering is whether or not to hire another entity aside from the applicant's geologist and your own consulting engineer planning firm, which has a geologist, to review the updated reports that will be forthcoming. Do you want to talk about that now? I mean, we did receive a resume from an interested person who's qualified to do this review. So at some point, we can go into an executive session if you want to talk about his qualifications and whether or not you want to hire him. I also have him available by the phone if you want to ask any questions.
Okay. We can.
He came to us, or we?
He was recommended by Joe Berger.
Our engineer.
He's someone that has done work for the town of Dover before.
Okay. So that's something we can discuss. Anything further? Attorney Polidoro. Planner Werner?
No, I think you summed it up pretty well. We're still reviewing the materials. My colleague, Brian Zieroff, who's a hydrogeologist and going to take the lead on the review of the scope and development of the scope and actually lead the testing, is going to be here on the 4th. He wasn't able to make it tonight, but we'll have some thoughts from him in a memo and eventually a proposal that lays out the scope of work for the Phase 2 that will just be billed to the escrow account of Transco.
Okay. Thank you.
We don't have any comments at this time. We'll see what comes up.
Thank you. All right, any members of the planning board have any comments or questions based on the consultant's responses? No? Okay. So I'm thinking after we are done with the old and new business, we will go into a brief executive session to discuss the hiring of potential hiring of a consultant.
Thank
Anything
you.
further?
Nope,
this evening?
that's it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next we have 3185 Route 22, MCC Apartments. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. Howdy, everyone. It's us again. We're back. So again, Peter Sanner, Rennie Engineering, representing the applicant, Michael. Since the last time we were before the board, we had some minor adjustments to the site plan, which we've made in our resubmission. And I'll just briefly go over them. One was the installation of 2 benches, which we have done along the sidewalk and then out in front of the commercial structure. We also added 3 additional bike racks, two for the multifamily residences being constructed in phase 1, and then another bike rack which would be constructed with the.
Which page can we see that on?
Yep. So yeah, we have the 2 bike racks here.
Okay.
Boom, boom, right in front of the two
There's
two
a-
residentials, and then we have a 3rd bike rack. If I was like my dad's height, you'd
There should be a
You have
laser
one
pointer
on
over
the-
there.
Oh, yeah. And then a 3rd bike rack, which would be right there. And then.
So
the-
behind the commercial structure here? Okay.
So
And then,
if you look here,
yeah.
this is actually the residential
Oh, sure.
entrance.
Right,
So
yeah.
they'd be coming down the stairs and
Okay.
have access to their bike rack.
Sure.
And then we also have bench 1 and bench 2.
Bench 2 is where?
Bench 2 is right there.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yep.
Bench 1.
So with those are the additions to the site plan that were requested.
Okay.
And then we also provided revised building elevations, which we had initially submitted them, and then we needed them for the residential structures. So that was submitted with this submission, as well as the full stormwater pollution prevention plan. Again, this is more of a revision based off the stormwater pollution prevention plan that was reviewed and approved for the last development. Again, very minor changes of name, changes of application title, just to reflect the new owner. But ultimately, same practices, same level of disturbance. And that's really about it. So we figured that this was a pretty straightforward submission, included all the sheets this time, and look forward to answering any comments.
Okay. Thank you. Any members of the planning board have any further comments, questions? Nope. Mary Polidoro?
I mean, just speaking of the sheets, one of the conditions I recommended was that the architectural sheets actually be attached under the same cover page so they don't get lost when the site plan is signed. It's just for, to have one complete package. It's just housekeeping. And then there was a note about a Knox box. I couldn't find it if it was on the sheet. If it's there, then you've already satisfied it.
You know, not sure if I added a note on the Knox box, but the applicant was intending to provide that anyways. It's just good practice for the fire department.
So it's a condition.
One of the conditions. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Attorney Polidoro. Planner Warner?
No, nothing new to add. We did, I didn't have a new memo this month. We did the neg deck last month, so seeker's done. Last month, we talked about the 239M comments from the county, as well as some public comments, and that was the reason for some of these revised aspects of the site plan, the benches, the bike racks. We also went through the fire department's comments and Don Anderson's take on those, and as the applicant's representative said, they're agreeing with the Knox box, and if we show it on the plan as a note, I think that satisfies it. So, no additional comments from me.
All right. Thank you. Engineer?
No additional comments on the storm. You provided Joe with an email with the additional information he needed.
Perfect.
Thank you. Any members of the
Couple of
planning board have any comments or questions based on our consultants' responses? Nope. All right. All right, so this time we have a resolution granting site plan approval. Just okay, resolution granting site plan approval, 3185 Route 22, MCC Holdings LLC. Whereas the applicant, MCC Holdings LLC, has submitted an application for site plan, erosion, and sediment control permit and architectural review board approval to redevelop a former mixed-use commercial and residential site which was destroyed in 2018 by a fire with one mixed-use commercial and multifamily residential building, Building 1, and two multifamily residential buildings, Buildings 2 and 3, collectively known as the project, on property located at 3185 Route 22, tax parcel number 7063 dash... Is that supposed to be 00? Verify that.
I don't know, let's see.
All of them say 0.
Ours is saying 110 or 10
No,
too.
it's 10.
Okay.
It's 10.
I don't think I've seen that before. I think it's always been 00.
Yeah, it's done.
7063-10-456544, known as the project site, which is located within the Hamlet Mixed Use Zoning District or HM District. And whereas in the HM District, multifamily dwellings, upper floor apartments, and mixed-use buildings, offices, retail businesses, and service businesses are all permitted by right, subject to site plan review by the planning board. And whereas the project is depicted on a site plan entitled 3185 Route 22, amended site plan prepared by Rennie Engineering Design, PLLC, dated July 19, 2023, sheets 0 through 9, last revised November 1, 2023, and residential building elevations entitled Proposed Apartments for Michael Orfici, prepared by S&P Architects PC, dated October 19, 2023, and commercial building elevations entitled Proposed Commercial Building for Michael Orfici, dated June 26, 2023, sheets A3 and A4, dated 10/19/23, prepared by S&P Architects, PC, collectively known as the site plan set.
Well,
And whereas,
I thought he said they just submitted revised elevations. So how could the revised,
well,
That was the date, that was the date, the plans were updated on November 1st, but the architectural sheets had a different date. That's why, again, why I asked for them all to be under the same packaging.
oh, okay.
Yeah, the architecturals are prepared October 19th, is that right?
That's what I have.
Yeah. In response to the last meeting, right? Or no,
think
2
so.
meetings ago.
I mean, that's what I have.
Yeah, they
unless
were
it-
presented 2 meetings ago, right?
No, we had them updated at
Last
the meeting
meeting.
because it didn't
Last
have
There was no
the,
finish
it didn't have the
Yeah,
finishes.
there was no finish schedule
That's
on
right,
it.
okay.
Yep.
and whereas on August 3rd, 2020, the planning board reviewed and approved a substantially similar project at the same project site, known as the 2020 project. And whereas on May 18, 2020, the planning board classified the 2020 project as an unlisted action pursuant to SECRA and served as lead agency for the purposes of the coordinated review of an environmental assessment form, or EAF, with supplemental narrative culminating in the adoption of a negative declaration for the 2020 project on August 3, 2020, finding it would not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts and that an environmental impact statement would not be prepared. And whereas on August 7, 2023, the planning board classified the project as an unlisted action, declared its intent to serve as lead agency in a coordinated review of the project, to which no other involved agency has objected. And whereas by letter dated August 23, 2023, the Town of Dover Code Enforcement Officer issued his determination that 17 units are permitted on the property, that multifamily residential building 2 would require an area variance in the minimum side yard setback of 10 feet, could not be met, and that his prior determinations on the 2020 project dated January 27, 2020 regarding common water and sewer facilities and the location of off-street parking remain applicable to the project. And whereas on September 18, 2023, the Planning Board declared itself as lead agency and resolved to refer the application to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development pursuant to Section 239-M of the General Municipal Law. And whereas by letter dated September 28, 2023, the J.H. Ketchum Hose Company provided comments on the project. And whereas by letter dated October 10, 2023, the applicant responded to comments from the J.H. Ketchum Hose Company. And whereas by correspondence dated October 16, 2023, the town's fire inspector determined that the project would comply with the New York State Fire Code. And whereas the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development, or DCDPD, responded on October 16, 2023, that the project was a matter of local concern with comments. And whereas the Planning Board has carefully considered the comments from DCDPD and has requested changes to the project in consideration of the comments. And whereas a duly noticed public hearing was opened on October 2nd, 2023, and closed on October 16th, 2023, during which all those who wished to speak were heard. And whereas pursuant to Section 145-65D, subsection 4, the Planning Board may not approve any site plan containing residential units unless such plan shall show, when required by the Planning Board, a park suitably located for playground or other recreational purposes. And whereas the property previously contained 6 residential dwelling units, and whereas on October 16, 2023, the Planning Board adopted a negative declaration determining that the project as proposed would not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts, and that a draft environmental impact statement would not be prepared. And now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to Section 145-11B of the Town of Dover zoning law, the Planning Board hereby grants the project a waiver from the maximum impervious surface coverage of 50% to permit a maximum impervious surface coverage of 53.8%. Be it further resolved that the Planning Board finds that a proper case exists for requiring that a park be suitably located for playgrounds or other recreational purposes, but that a suitable park cannot be properly located on the site plan set, and requires the applicant to make a payment to the Town of Dover Trust Fund for 11 new residential units. Be it further resolved that the Planning Board hereby grants Site Plan and Architectural Review Board approval to the project as shown on the site plan set, and authorizes the chair or his authorized designee to affix his signature to the site plan set after compliance with the following conditions. Number 1 has a different dollar amount than
It's,
previous resolution.
your fee schedule has an increased amount the higher the number of units go.
Thank you. 1, payment of all fees and escrow, including a recreation fee of $44,000, $4,000 for each new unit. 2, submission of a complete site plan set with all 9 pages, with matching dates and architectural elevation sheets included under the same cover page. 3, revision of sheet 2 of 9 to include a note that Knox boxes or equivalent will be installed on each structure prior to receipt of a certificate of occupancy. 4, conceptual approval by the Department of Transportation for any changes to the curb cut on New York State Route 22. 5, approval by the Dover Water Company and Dutchess County Department of Behavioral and Community Health for the methods of water supply and water and wastewater disposal. 6, acceptance of the stormwater pollution prevention plan by the Planning Board engineer. Be it further resolved that the Planning Board hereby grants the applicant an erosion sediment control permit for disturbance as shown on the site plan set, subject to the following conditions. 1, submission of a $1,500 to be placed into escrow to cover the cost of site inspections by the Planning Board engineer. 2, submission of a performance guarantee in the amount of $12,500 in form, substance, and matter of execution satisfactory to the town attorney. Be it further resolved that before the authorized official may issue a certificate of compliance, the Planning Board engineer shall provide the authorized official with a written statement indicating that all work authorized under the permit has been completed in accordance with the approved permit. All right, this resolution is being offered by
So moved.
Member Lorbertier, second by Member Sador. Discussion? Okay. Seeing no discussion. Resolution granting site plan approval, 3185 Route 22, MCC Holdings LLC. Secretary, please call the roll.
Member Valano,
Aye.
Member Sador,
Aye.
Member Roman. Aye. Member LaRobertier,
Aye.
Chairman Courtine.
Aye. This resolution is adopted 5-0 with 2 absences. Congratulations.
Fantastic. Thank you, Chairman Courtine, board members. Much appreciated.
All right, next under new business, we have Sherman Hill Road, 2-family.
Hello again.
Mr. Orfisi. All right, let's see. So, we have your application, site plan. And we'll start there.
All set?
Yes, let me just zoom back in here. Okay,
Okay.
please go ahead.
Members of the board, consultants, I'm here asking for a special permit to construct 2-family housing with additional special permit for auxiliary apartments on the 4 lots in the Sherman Hill, off of Sherman Hill Road cul-de-sac. It was part of the original River Valley Estates subdivision. As you can see, it's a private cul-de-sac consisting of 4 lots.
Let me zoom in a bit more.
Surrounded by roughly 59 acres of state land. Right now, it's a vacant subdivision that was approved back in 2000, roughly, 2003. It's been vacant ever since. So, I mean, that's really the gist of it. It's pretty straightforward. We're not looking to change anything other than the classification from a single family to a 2-family. House location, everything else is identical to the originally approved subdivision.
All right. Just for everyone's education. So this is Route 22. This is Old State Route 22. And this is Sherman Hill Road. And we're talking about this right here.
Yep.
Correct. Okay. And then further. Right, so this road is already in existence?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And there's no structures on the 4
Nope.
parcels?
All cleared land, ready to go. Everything's there is depicted. I mean, the one well is in place. It was a test well. But other than that, it's just the road and curbing. It's in place and utilities are in place.
When you say utilities are in place, what,
Underground utilities with a transformer box right there.
okay, but not septics or anything
No,
like that?
no,
Okay.
no. But it is all BOH approved, and I've kept the approvals up to date. So currently, right now, I could pull a permit and construct a single-family home.
On each of the 4 lots?
Yeah, on each of the 4
The-
lots.
The 4 lots exist, they were subdivided by this planning board?
Yep.
Years and years ago, okay.
Yep. And current BOH approval.
And for how many bedrooms are each? Is
4 or
each
5?
4 to 5 bedrooms?
4 to 5 bedroom, that's usually what they classify them as. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So,
And are these retaining walls?
no, that's just, what it is, I updated the existing site plan there in that section to redraw the updated floodplain lines, like was
Okay.
requested from me.
Thanks.
So those are, I think, sediment control
Oh, okay.
stuff they had in the original
So
site
the green
plan.
is the proposed septic
Septic, yes.
fields?
Yep.
Okay, the blue, this is obviously each structure
Yep.
that's proposed. Okay. Okay. Is there a key that explains?
The colors?
Yeah.
The top in there. I know it didn't transfer well. I kind of put this together myself, so I did the best I could.
All right. Any members of the planning board have any questions or comments at this time?
Nope.
Okay. Mary Polidoro, this is not something the planning board typically undertakes. So if you could explain.
Sure. So normally, a single-family home would not require any further review by this board once it goes up. But there are several triggers here which are requiring more review. It's very close to the streams. And then two-family with an accessory apartment both require a special permit. I do think, I don't know if the applicant had a chance to review the comments, but it might be more straightforward just to call them multifamily, because then you're only seeking one special permit. Otherwise, we need to send you for an interpretation, because under the zoning law, you can have a single-family home with an accessory apartment, but it's not clear that you can have a two-family home with an accessory apartment.
Okay.
And I'm not I'm not opposed to that. I mean, my main goal, I sent the email earlier when I sent this in was, should I, for simplifying the process, because all I'm doing is asking for a special permit, should I do 4 individual applications or kind of group it all together? I'm trying to avoid that whole trigger of a major project and to really make a mountain out of a molehill here, just because it's 4 lots. I'm okay with the whole
multifamily
idea, as long as that, again, won't, being called a multifamily, trigger the same kind of
The review is happening either way.
No, I
So,
understand that. It's just to what extent is what's required.
I think it's the same extent. The board's going to be reviewing 12 units, the creation of 12 units. So the first question is how do we get to 12? Is it a 3-family or is it a 2 with an apartment? In which case, I think we need an interpretation, because it's not clear that we can have a 2-family with an accessory
So
apartment.
I guess one question I have is, I'm looking at the front of the building here. So it's
basically divided left and right.
basically left and right. Okay.
Yep.
And then the accessory apartment is like through this door here next to
Yes.
the garage?
Yep.
So there'd be like a stairway going straight
Yep.
up like that? Okay.
Mhm.
And so then each family would have exterior access to the garage?
On the back side, yes. Each garage has its own private door.
Okay. I mean, or they could just go through their garage door.
Yeah, true.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Everything's
all right.
segmented.
So okay. I guess. Okay, here we go.
And if
There's
I-
a rear elevation.
Yeah,
So
rear elevation, yep.
Then, okay. That door goes where?
Basement.
A basement for all of them?
Utilities, washroom,
Okay.
Besides, the only thing we have dictated now is just a cumulative laundry room, we'll call it.
Right.
It's just an idea, but other than that, no real purpose.
Okay.
It's just to do access through the dwelling. Didn't really quite work out layout, so we just
Right.
actionate it. If I may speak to the whole 2-family thing versus 1-family with accessory apartment, if you read the next section of code, we'll say, where it's talking about 2-family, section D says multiple residents on a lot may contain more than one principal residential structure and accessory apartment, provide the lots, sufficient acreage, yada, yada, yada. So your code more or less says I can have 2 single-family homes with accessory apartments.
Correct.
But I couldn't have a 2-family home with an accessory apartment? I mean, that's where I kind of base it
It's just
off
the
of.
way that it reads. It says that a single-family home can have an accessory apartment. But this would not be a single-family home because you
No,
have
I-
2 units next to
yeah.
each other.
But if I separated the houses, it almost says that
You're
I
reading
could.
it like common sense, and it's zoning. And they're different things.
Well, really, it's 2 houses. This is 1/32 of an inch between the 2. You just can't see them.
That's a thin wall.
It's very thin. Well, the gap is 3/32. It just looks like a 2-family home.
Okay.
I mean, we agree, comments from my memo get to this. Thank you for bringing it up. But, it might make sense just to go for the multifamily
Which
special permit.
If that makes it easy, I'm trying to make this simple. Yeah,
I don't think you can separate the applications, though. I think we still need to look at it all under seeker as one, because you'll be segmenting it otherwise, but.
Yeah.
What's which zone is this in?
RU.
This is RU.
Okay. So.
Some overlays.
Right. So it's in RU, but we have 3 of the 4 parcels that are 1 point whatever acres? And one is 4 point?
Because it's part of a
It
flexible
was a
subdivision.
flexible subdivision.
Flexible
It is,
subdivision
yeah.
that was approved.
20 years old.
Yeah, it is.
By
It
the
was in
planning
the,
board 20 years ago.
the minutes were in, from the original approval, were in the application
Okay,
to back that up.
okay. And was there anything in the planning board's approval back then of the flexible subdivision that said anything about?
So there was a
here?
maximum density.
Right.
And so one of the comments that Aaron has in his memo is that the applicant's gonna have to go back, look at the whole subdivision and figure out if adding 12 units would be within that maximum permitted density.
Right.
If you look on the site plan I submitted, there's a key up there. I mean, granted, well, my always plan was to take that and have a design professional really double check, just getting through this. Rennie was really backed up and I didn't want to waste time. But if you look, you scroll over
Scroll over.
to the right. It's up maybe? Or if you
I think
zoom
it's
in.
up there. Density, yeah.
Okay.
That's, you know, it's where I did the calculations based on the original subdivision minus the wetlands and going through what's required. The site would allow 48 units during the original River Valley Estates approval. Would have allowed 48, they only used 20. So there's an extra 28, we'll say, based on the overall. And my position is if they would have asked for it then to make these two-family, there was plenty of density left, we'll say,
Right.
to grant it then.
And was this subdivision part of?
River Valley Estates.
It was this and
And that,
this?
yeah.
Okay. And in here, there's not that many houses that.
No, there's 13 lots.
Okay. So Attorney Polidoro, could whomever owns all those lots or any of those lots come in and say, well, here's my application for
They're all-
3 units?
If there's density remaining, yeah, then it could be further developed. That's why we were asking to go back and look through the,
I heard something. Go ahead.
Sean, who's a partner of mine in this cul-de-sac, made a
Yes.
good point. The original River Valley Estate, or Estates development here,
Yes.
all but that lot and this cul-de-sac are bound by an HOA, and they can't do multifamilies based on the HOA.
Okay.
So
and so yours is the only one not in
those
the
4 cul-de-sacs and Lot 1, which is on 22, were not. Me and Sean purchased that whole development a couple of years ago. That's why we're familiar with it.
Oh, okay, so you purchased this and
All
this?
that, yes, yeah.
Except for the one house that's already owned
Yes.
by somebody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So, I mean, I think that's something that, I see your chart, but we'd like to have confirmation.
No, and that's totally reasonable.
Yeah, it's
Very,
kind
it's very thorough. You might want to consider hiring him. All right.
It may not be 100%, but it's pretty close because I do this a lot and I can read it through.
We usually don't see 100% from the
So,
beginning.
I'm not concerned, like, yeah, just,
Yeah.
the one thing about the whole density calc too is that the wetlands are 20 years old, right?
I did that based on the new lines, so,
Okay.
again, my interpretation of the new lines, but I agree. I get what you're saying.
So just show the work
The
again,
wetlands
like,
are-
it's
Yeah.
not, I don't think we're gonna have an issue with meeting it, it's just, that was the genesis of that comment, really. So we're covering
So-
some of my comments by Victoria's piece, and that's fine. Getting 2 birds, 1 stone.
And you're only proposing housing here, right? You're not proposing any kind of businesses,
Nope,
like a
nope,
barber
nope,
shop or something?
no,
or-
no.
No, okay. All right. Okay. I mean, I would think we should maybe
So,
do a
there's
site
also,
visit just to get a sense of what we're looking at, right?
this is also, if they're two-family, we don't do ARB review, but if it's multifamily, we do ARB review.
Okay.
So there's something there. So then you have to review the materials of the building and.
I mean, is it, okay, so it's, you have 3 doors. How is it a 2-family? I guess that's my question. There's 3 doors. How is it a 2-family?
Well, it's 2-family with an accessory apartment.
Right. And one of the 2 families is going to own that accessory apartment?
Could be.
Could not be. Okay. So we have more to discuss, I think.
Right, and the code specifically says, 1 accessory apartment is permitted per single-family dwelling.
Right.
It's pretty clear.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I don't know if it's intended to be a separate,
I'm okay going multifamily. I mean, if that sounds like it's the easier route, I'm
It's just 1 special permit rather than
fine with
2.
that, so we don't
You
need
still
to.
have to meet all the other requirements for a special permit in the code, and it would still be a major project because it's one application.
But we would avoid the interpretation.
Right.
So something,
If that's simpler,
To
then
be
I'm fine with that.
discussed,
It's semantics, what we're calling it, so I'm fine either way.
okay.
Keep going.
So we were on Attorney Polidoro, and then Planner Warner, you started
Yeah.
chiming in. So let's go to
Okay.
anything from your memo. What do we got?
No.
Yeah, there's a lot in my memo. I mean, it is pretty straightforward, but unfortunately, the code doesn't really make it such, based on the requirements for major projects. The first comment is just that this does require a county referral, given a couple of determinants, including the agricultural land. You got DEC land surrounding this, which is another trigger, which, just out of curiosity, was that created from the River Valley Estates?
Yes.
Was that like a conservation easement that was part of
the
that?
subdivision.
Yeah.
It was kind of like granted to the state?
Oh,
Or
right,
they-
there's a little parking area
Yeah, it
somewhere.
was given to
There's a
the state.
fishing access for Swamp River there,
Yeah.
yeah, so, okay. So for that reason also, it's further down, but I think, we need to have, this DEC is gonna have to be interested, an interested agency, because they're adjacent property owners, when this gets circulated for seeker.
Mhm.
I don't want to jump ahead too far. So it does need county referral when we're ready to do that. I don't think we're ready to do that tonight. Number 2 is just about the health department, which sounds like you've got approval for, but
It's
I'll
already
let-
approved, but,
I'll let Michelle talk about stuff like that when it's her turn, but, number 3, this does meet definition of a major project, which requires a public hearing. It also requires a site plan, and I note that you have to meet all the requirements of a
Mhm.
site plan, which is 145-65B.
Yep.
You also have to submit, unfortunately, a long form EAF rather than the short form. Even if we end up calling this unlisted, the code does require the long form be submitted for this type of project, so should work on that. And use the mapper to prepare it, because get some of those answers
No,
automatically
yeah,
checked off.
I used it for the short form as well.
Okay, great.
So,
You also need that narrative satisfying the criteria of all special permits, which is 145-63. And I don't think I saw the ag data statement either as part of the application, so I just noted that too. That's B under 3. Number 4, it just wasn't clear to us. You have other property owners here. Do we
Yeah,
have a
given-
letter of agent that you can submit?
Yeah, I actually have one, I just,
Okay. So it sounds like you've already started addressing some of these
yeah.
before the meeting. Great. Chapter 65, I'll defer when it's Michelle's turn. ARB, number 6 is noted, that would be required here. 7 and 8 talk about what we just mentioned about whether this is 2 special permits or if we can just call it 1 for multifamily. We can skip down to, well, as part of number 9, I believe you're going to meet this, but, well, actually, if we're not calling them accessory apartments anymore, the first part of 9 can be ignored. The one thing I had a question about is, it looks like the layout of the footprints of the structures, if you can bring up the site plan again. They kind of mirror what I saw on the final map for the River Valley Estates. They're pretty much identical in the location and the driveways, and
Yeah.
are the square footages, the footprints, like the same as what was contemplated 20 years ago?
Yeah.
They were just going to be single-family homes?
It
in
can't
that-
be, because the way
Well, the approach is, yeah,
you've shown the garages, you won't be able to get in that way.
yeah, the approach on the garage is different, yes.
Well-
Yeah, so the layout needs to be reflective of
Mhm.
what you're out.
This is somewhere between conceptual and actual.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so you'll address that.
Yeah.
I think it also would be helpful to have like dimensions, right, of the footprints, maybe like the setbacks that you're doing here too, just to make sure it's all consistent with what because right now your elevations don't really match the layout. Number 10, you can go back to the memo. I think we'll be going back and forth a little bit. 10 is just all the requirements of a site plan, which you should address when you resubmit.
Yep.
11 is just talking about how it looks like we're meeting the bulk requirements, but I think it would be good just to show those on the plan too. Right now, you just have the footprints there without much more information. Building height, Sounds like you're going to meet the maximum permitted, or maybe be below it. Can you confirm that, 35 feet?
Yeah, you're 80, yeah,
Okay.
definitely below 35.
Does your elevation show that? I wasn't sure. You can pull that back up.
I don't know if it has the dimension on it. If I could add that.
That would be helpful.
To-
What the actual exact height is going to be.
Mhm.
See if it meets that. Okay. Okay.
I mean, I don't see how it could be, yeah, you should have it on there. I don't see how,
Yeah,
I don't see how I could reach
It won't be an
35
issue,
feet,
just,
but-
I'll throw it on, no problem.
No, number 13 was asking about the impermeable surface coverage of 10% being met. If you can just elaborate on that within the site plan, if you can show a table that shows for all of these lots now, considering what's proposed. 14 was about the density, which Victoria brought up, the calculation used to get there. I think we're almost there. If you have questions, we can go through it offline, but it sounds like you started to address the site plan. The wetlands need to be shown, like, or in some way, or if you can account for the actual acreage of those, if we know them now. I mean, it's state land, the DEC owns that land where the wetlands are, maybe they have more information.
Yeah, okay.
Do you have a contact at DEC that you know?
No, but I can get you
Okay.
information.
And, because they're gonna get referred this also. So maybe they'll just comment at that time that there's wetlands here, we need to see them, or, we've delineated them, either way. DEC is going to be involved, so. Number 15 was about the floodplain overlay. It just wasn't clearly shown on the map. We were concerned that maybe there was some septic systems showing up in that, which isn't allowed. 16, stream corridor.
The line is the floodplain, if you go to the legend. I know if you were.
The version I had, it was broken up and it wasn't totally.
Stream or river, stream corridor.
The dotted
Yeah, it's
light
a
blue.
dotted, like the double.
It didn't show up in your.
It's really.
Yeah, it was very hard to read.
Yeah, I agreed. I realized that when I was printing them out.
It looks like this might be it here?
No, it's the
No,
light
it's
blue.
the- under it.
Oh, I'm looking at the 1%.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the light blue
Light
dotted.
blue is the floodway.
All the way down there.
I think the light blue is the
The flood.
floodway, and then this is the 100-year floodplain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which looks like the septic, if it's accurate, the septic is going into it here and there.
Right.
Yeah, so, something else to look at.
Victoria just pointed out that the final map, it shows 4 bedrooms is what the health department approved.
Right, it says all SDSs are designed for 4 bedrooms. So that's, how many bedrooms are you proposing for your 3 units?
5. I'd have to go back and look at that. I thought. It was
It's
a
on
4,
page
but
11.
I look at all the plans, so I'll go back and reconfirm that. And if I got to, I'll have it up.
Right, so
Yeah.
we just need to know if you're increasing it, the design has to be
Yes, yep,
changed, and we have to go back to Department of Health.
Yep.
I think 15 and 16 are both just, it's hard to see the map, on the map, the lines for the floodplain overlay, the stream corridor. There's certain restrictions about, in the stream corridor overlay that the code lays out. You can't have structures there. There's a setback. If you could show all of that, that would really helpful to us.
It does seem unusually jagged, considering like, if those other lines are contour lines,
Yeah.
like if these gray lines are
Well-
correct contour lines, why is it just kind of jump in and out like that? It just,
That was-
something seems off.
That was no. I'll go back to my surveyor, and he
blue-
did that initial.
Okay.
He did all that by licensed surveyor, so I just.
Okay. I mean,
took-
maybe-
I took it
line
on
is-
face value. So
The blue line's supposed to be the floodplain line?
The blue, no, so the blue line is the,
100-year.
Okay.
let me go back up here. Limits of 1% annual flood chance, so what everybody calls a 100-year floodplain.
Yep. It really should just be from the FEMA mapping, honestly. Like,
I'm assuming that's where he got it.
Yeah.
Like I said, the surveyor did this portion of it.
I can
Yeah,
check
maybe that
the,
is the line, it just seems strange, that's all.
they often are, but yeah, I mean, it depends on, what they did at the time, but those are pretty set at this point. So I can double check the FEMA map to see if they're consistent, but Okay.
I would tend to believe they are, only based on the fact that that's what I hired them to do, was to redraw that. That was your big question way back when, that they changed.
Right.
Rather than giving you the old site.
Well, the
you know.
wetlands, yeah, the wetlands are what, have they changed? The floodplain probably hasn't changed much, but we could see.
Anyway.
Okay, 17 is just on the noting that there's the aquifer overlay here, and actually the code does require that a copy of the EAF be filed with, let's see what it says. Should be filed with the nearest public water system owners, as identified to the applicant by the Secretary of the Town of Dover Planning Board, the Town of Dover Planning Board, and the Town of Dover Conservation Advisory Commission. So that's just in the code. If you have, when you have that EAF revised, we can just provide a copy to all those folks. We'll make sure that happens. And then just add a note about the aquifer district overlay being here. All right, so then we'll move on to the seeker comments. It's starting with number 18. This is just calling out that DEC tract of land that surrounds the subdivision area. I think they'll have to be interested just based on that. It'll likely be unlisted for seeker, but I think we should hold off on classifying until we get a response to these comments. We get a full, a site plan set, enough material to refer out and actually declare lead agency and do all that. So number 19 is just calling out the 20 years ago subdivision map has a lot of, obviously you got the Swamp River running through, but there's a lot of wetlands that are along it that are not shown on the applicant's site plan. They appear to be delineated. So, I think we just need to know if they might need to be redelineated, especially if DEC, when they get a copy of this, wants to see that. So just noting that for the board and the applicant's consideration.
Just so the concern there is that this delineation was done 20 years
20 years ago, right, it doesn't,
Anything
yeah.
over 5 years.
So like the wetlands proper is not just the swamp rivers, what you can see from an aerial photo. The previous map showed that there's some fringe wetlands along it that jut out in various directions. So, they are down gradient of these lots. They're on land that's not owned by the applicant, but again, I think with DEC seeing this, they might comment. So I just wanted to call that out. And then number 20 and 21 just have to do with endangered species and archaeology. Now, this was flagged in the EAF mapper. Luckily, the planning board actually did a pretty extensive seeker review back in 2003 on the original subdivision, where they actually had the applicant at that time did a habitat assessment field survey. So even though these lots are flagged for golden eagle, timber rattlesnake, bog turtle, there's really no habitat present there. I think looking back at the aerial photos, these lots was ag land for a long time. Had some agricultural roads through it. Not a lot of forested area at all. No wetlands on the lots. So my opinion is I don't think these are going to be issues for seeker. The look was taken back then before these lots were created, and they've been disturbed since. Same for archaeology. There was a phase 1 and 2 that was done at that time. This particular area was called Grid 3, and the only structure they found was had any possible significance was a remnant of an old business that was there that's not historic. So they didn't find any archaeology sensitivity on this based on that documentary study and actual field work. So I think the issue of archaeology is also going to be not an issue for this one.
Okay.
So other than that, I think, if the applicant can go back and make some revisions, resubmit what they have to per the code, we might not need that CEO interpretation after all.
I was going to say maybe we hold off on that just until we actually get.
Right. You can, I did have a site visit as a possible discussion item, but there's no other action tonight.
The shared driveway, I know that all of these legal documents were probably reviewed in 2003, but If you have a copy of the easement giving each of those lots the right to use that road, can you submit it?
Okay.
Just-
No, it's on the cover page of the original subdivision.
I think it shows
Yeah.
up as part of one of the lots, too.
Yeah,
If
lot
you-
14.
Yeah. If you're looking on parcel access, it's
Yeah.
part of lot 14.
Oh, I'm sorry, 15.
15.
15, sorry.
Thank you.
Oh, is that why lot 15 is 4.07
It incorporates the
acres?
driveway. It's a private drive.
I
Yep.
see.
And they all,
So it's really the other three lots have an easement across their
Yes.
property.
Right, we just want to make sure that they have that right, it's been recorded, so we don't have to deal with it
yep.
as part of this.
Okay,
So, that's all for me.
all right. Our engineer?
Okay, as stated, the original filed plans say 4-bedroom, not 5, so just confirm that.
Yep.
And you said you got an updated DOH approval. We need a copy to see that it's up to date, but if you got to go to 5 bedrooms, you're going to have to get a
Yep.
new approval. Also, because these could be multifamily, even if it was a duplex and an apartment, you still could have multiple owners. We need the mechanism for the maintenance of the septic system, since it's a shared septic. Just basically to say that if it breaks, that kind of like an HOA, but not, it doesn't have to be an HOA, it just has to
If it's
be,
an individual septic on each lot?
well, no, the septic on a lot is going to serve
I guess the concern
more than
becomes,
one residence.
They're
It's
connected.
going to serve three.
like if there's a, there's, if it's 2 families or 3 families, how do you pay for the broken well, the septic needs to be,
I got you.
Are they rentals or condos?
you know,
Rentals.
everything, I guess, I don't know.
Rentals.
Right, but what happens if they go to condos?
I guess in the future, I get your point in the future, I have no intent to, but if it's that simple, it's easy.
Just when you're
have
doing the
something
other legal
written out.
things, kind of take a
Right,
look
just
at
another
that.
discussion point, I guess, like,
Rentals isn't a problem, but if they go to condos,
Yeah, we have no
It can be a problem.
intention to.
like 3185 is going to
Yeah,
be
I
owned
don't-
by one entity with rentals, and so.
Yeah, no intention,
That
but
one
if it's a
entity's going to
concern,
pay
it's easy
for
to.
repairs, plowing, mowing, so kind of what happens here is the question.
Same thing.
Yeah.
So, but if it's just as simple to put something in.
Okay.
and on that, you'll have to go with the health department on the wells and it's only 3 connections, but make sure the health department also knows that there's 3 connections in the house.
Yep.
And then probably going to be a common drive now in the parking associated now with 3 units. And it's no longer single family, so Chapter 65, the exemption goes away. And we'll need to know the area of disturbance,
Yep.
each lot and the total,
Yep.
and check with your engineer on what other impacts that may have for stormwater. And
Anything further, Engineer Zerfus?
That was primary, you can read the letter to,
Okay. All right, thank you. Having heard from our consultants, any?
You had a
members
separate
have any
letter
other-
from the town engineer? I never got a copy of it.
I'm not sure I did.
There was one, yeah.
Yeah, I never.
Oh.
We'll try, maybe we should also get him an electronic version. Just, I guess, email him again if you already emailed it. Okay, having heard from our consultants, any members have any comments, questions about what they've said? All right. Right, so my thinking is that we would hold off on a request of a CEO interpretation at this time. Any members of the planning board disagree? That's fine. Okay. All right, so the request was for escrow increase, and then also discussion of a site visit.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to establish a little higher escrow for this one, given what it's going to need to, what we have to review at the end of the day, all 3 of us. So, I don't know. Any thoughts? 7,500 maybe, or 10,000, just to cover the review?
All right, motion to increase the escrow to $7,500. Motion made by Member Villano, seconded by
Second.
Member Sador. Discussion. Secretary Van Millen just reminded us that becomes, they receive a letter of replenishment, like when it's at 50% or
50%.
Any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of setting escrow as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Okay, that motion passes 5-0 with 2 absences. Site plan visit?
I mean, it's a little quite overgrown. We cut it like once or twice a year.
We could drive up the
We can get through
Yeah,
the
the
road.
road, yeah.
road and see
Yeah,
what we're looking at, right?
I think Joe was out there and took some photos, but, and he was able to get all the way to the end of the cul-de-sac, so I think that's what we would want to do.
The road's not overgrown. You're saying the lots are
Yeah,
overgrown?
yeah, I just,
Sure.
yeah. Let me know, range access, it's gated now
Okay.
because it used to be a party
Right.
ground.
Okay. Typically, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
applicant or consultant
Yeah.
on your side invites us in. It's not like,
When do you want to go?
yeah, so let's find a time. We have
We don't have
a
one.
calendar here.
I just forwarded you the electronic version of Berger's memo.
Okay, thank you.
All right. We're probably looking at a weekend morning, what we typically do in the fall, winter, early spring, just because it's dark by the time anybody would normally get home during the week. I'm going to venture that this Saturday's out for people.
Yeah.
Good guess, Ryan.
What's it going to be on,
December 2nd?
is it going to be on the agenda for the 4th?
I mean, is there, I guess, more to substantively discuss for the 4th?
Deadline's passed.
Well, the past, I'm
No,
just saying
but
with
we
this,
passed
you know,
the
we're going
deadline.
to discuss Transco on the 4th, but,
Yeah, the deadline's passed
yeah, I
the
guess,
4th.
Right, I think they have to go back and redo the EAF and get some more information together.
okay,
I'm not sure it's worth discussing on the 4th unless
right.
we're just discussing the two-family, multifamily issue.
We can't discuss that on a sidewalk, so.
No.
Okay, so then.
So you picked a
Saturday
date for the site walk?
Saturday the 9th?
And Michael, since you're good at research, you might want to see what you can find about a recreation fee, what was paid originally on this plan, because then you don't have to double pay.
No, but I am, like,
Right, essentially whoever, you know, did the work before, they've paid for 4.
Yeah.
You'd have to pay for 4 or 8 more, depending on however this all gets figured out, but.
was there a rec fee on an auxiliary apartment? And people usually
The
get
unit,
that?
it depends, again, like we're
Unit.
saying, it's depending on how it's defined, you know, is it,
Well,
Is
my
it-
definition aside, like
Right,
what we're doing
is
here,
it-
just in general, do you usually charge one on an
I have
auxiliary?
to go back and look at what the code says. It's
Per
not-
unit.
It's per unit, but the accessory apartment's not treated as a unit for purposes of density, but I think it's treated as a unit for rec fee purposes.
we have to look.
Well, that's what I
We
mean.
have to look, it's
Yeah,
not
we
something
we
we're
have to
figure
go
out right
back
now,
and
it's fine.
sort it out.
That might sway me on what, I might just go talk to Don first.
Let's do the 18th one, let's do it the 16th. This way it's close and fresh in everybody's head, rather than have a week or something in between.
Sure. Let's see.
Saturday the 2nd, is it?
9th, you're not around? Okay, 16th work for?
On paper.
Is the 2nd available?
I'm not, am I available?
I can't do the 2nd.
No, I'm available like late afternoon on the 2nd.
That'll work for us. I can do that.
I will make myself available, so.
I can't be there a second.
You can't be the 2nd, okay. I mean, I don't know that there's any advantage to doing it earlier or later, just, we obviously want to do it before, I would think the
18th.
meeting on the 18th, where we'd have you potentially back, provide more information by November 29th. So the 16th works for me, works for you? Ramon?
Seems good right now.
Yep.
You never tell with me.
So we'll go with the 16th, 8 a.m.
That doesn't matter.
If Engineer Berger was here, he'd say 6:30.
It'd
be cold.
It
could be cold.
8 a.m.
It's gonna be cold.
Might be a
Sunrises, I
little
don't
too
need-
cold then.
I mean, it's December 16th. It might be cold at any
All day.
point during the day.
Should be cold.
Oh, I don't, whatever time you want. I don't.
Let's go with this. Let's go with December 16th at 8 a.m. and then we'll see if that's an issue.
No. Is there anything that you want staked before you go, so you can see the corners of the lots or house location?
I'd have to mow it down.
What is the actual street?
It's pretty, you can pretty much, you'll be able to tell.
It's pretty
Sherman
flat.
Hill
It's all,
Road,
it used
if
to
you
be
come
ag land, so.
County 22.
Right, but I mean,
Well-
do you want like,
It's on the left.
Now that I finally got my calendar to the 16th, I'm not available on the 16th, so I can go. I can go another week. I can go another time if
So
everybody else
two
wants to go on the
different
16th.
dates or
Yeah.
something.
How about we say the 9th and the 16th,
There you go.
8 a.m. Is that?
The 9th and the 16th?
Yeah, and then
Okay.
whoever can go goes because it's always a problem to
Yeah.
try and get 7,
definitely don't
10
need to
people
go on this one.
together.
Can't get myself.
Can't get 10 people together on a Monday night.
Oh, did they leave it at 8 a.m.?
Yes.
All right, so the
Both
9th at 8 a.m., the 16th at 8 a.m.
Okay.
We need to go to 1.
Meet at the lot or meet here and I'll,
No, we'd
That's
meet.
a
We'd
lot.
meet there.
Meet
Yeah,
there.
if we could, preferably if people could park their cars on the.
no, you can,
Roadway,
I'll
not-
get
not
there
out on the
before and
county
unlock
road.
the gate and we can just drive all the way in, really.
Okay. RFC site.
Kill me now.
Um, Okay, anything further this evening with respect to Sherman Hill Road, two-family? Might have to come up with a different name. Okay. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Next planning board meeting to discuss this again.
Yeah, it'd be the
So-
18th.
Yeah, so our next planning board meeting is December 4th. The deadline for that is past November 15th. We will be discussing New York Transco. We will be voting on the calendar for next year. We'll be voting on
The appointments.
the consultants.
That's
Anything
it.
further? Receive anything?
Nothing.
Nothing? Okay. Then we have a meeting on December 18th. The deadline for that is next Wednesday, the 29th. So anything additional you can
Yep.
provide would be great. I think, can we agree that because of the site walk that we're going to have on the 9th and 16th, we'll still have them back for discussion on the,
If you have a
18th.
meeting on the 18th.
if we have a meeting on the 18th? Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
The plan is to have a meeting on the 18th.
Yep.
And we would like to have you back for,
Yep.
possibly additional discussion because
Yep.
of the site walk, and maybe you're going to submit more information by the 29th. So,
No, we'll get this all, sorted out.
thank you.
Yep.
With that,
Executive session?
make a motion to go into executive session,
To discuss the potential hiring.
discuss potential hiring of a consultant for the planning board. Motion,
Then return?
we will return and
Okay.
and see what happens.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made by myself, seconded by member Sador. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed say no. Yeah, that motion passes 5-0 with 2 absences. We are in executive session. All right, I need a motion to come out of executive session, return to our meeting. Motion made by Member Valano, second by Member Roman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Okay, that vote is 5-0 with 2 absences. No decisions were made, no money was spent. We're going to go to now a motion. Motion to hire Scott Taylor, professional geologist, at the rate of $150 an hour, to be paid through Transco's escrow account, and authorize the chairman to sign the agreement with Mr. Taylor, subject to approval by the attorney to the planning board. This motion's made by myself, seconded by
Second.
Member Sador. Discussion? Okay. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Okay, that motion passes 5-0 with 2 absences. And is there any further business before the planning board this evening? All right, seeing no further business before the planning board, I'll make a motion to adjourn, seconded by Member Valano. All those in favor of adjournment say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.